Today we're going to talk about the tools available for group leaders and managers on the city. All groups pretty much look and feel the same with the exception of connect groups, so learning these tools will apply to most of the groups you lead on the city. Today we're going to cover how you can customize your groups, manage your roster, and create content on the city. But before we start, I want to give you a brief overview of what we call the 3C's to city success. The first one is commitment. So as a group leader, it is very important that you are committed to use of the city. Not only use of the city, but you're also committed to the why behind the city. The city is available to really enable the mission of your church. And so if you understand how it's doing that, then it's more likely that you are committed to using it and in a way that is going to accomplish that mission. The second C is communication. So when I say closing backdoor communications, that means you no longer are sending group emails or any other way you're currently communicating. So now your communication is primarily going to be within the city. Obviously, it's not replacing face-to-face communication. You can still text and all of those things, but it's going to make it easier for you as well as for your group participants to know that important communication is all in the city, and if they need to find something, they can go there. The third thing is content, which is obvious that the city is made up of content. So you need to think through your own content strategy of how often you're going to post, what types of things you're going to post, what kind of culture you want to create in your group, because you want it to be engaging and not just informational. So do you want to post prayer requests or open the doors for more vulnerable conversations? So when you go into your group, it's going to look just like this for your own church. And so you can start a post meaning a topic, event, prayer, need, or album. But in order to customize your groups, you can go to your group settings. So as a group leader or manager, you have this option to go to group settings. Not everybody in your group would have that. The very first page of group settings, you can add a picture for your group. I think it's important. I understand if it's hard to know what type of picture to post for your group, but it makes it look better on your group info page and the group search to have a photo. A description is very important for the group info page. You can also add a custom message that would show up in any invitation sent from your group so that you don't have to individually type any message. You can also set an ideal size so that on the group map it would show up as red if your group is full. The next tab is address, which is very important to add a public address. You can set cross streets if you prefer not to have your actual address if it's your home. That way on the group map it would show up what groups are closest to different users if they're looking to find a group close to them. Options, you can choose if your group doesn't want to use a certain posting type. So if you don't want to use albums or needs or something like that, you can turn it off. Also, this is important to note, so the automatically approved join request by default is not checked. So that means if there's ever an invitation sent from your group, so any participant can send an invitation, an approval notification would be sent to you before that invitation is actually sent to the person. If you don't want those approvals, if your group is more open, you can set it as automatically approved, and then that invitation would automatically be sent. Over here, you can choose if you only want group leaders and managers to be able to create a certain posting type. If you only want group leaders and managers to create events, you can uncheck that, and that would make it so that all the participants in your group could create these other types but not the events. They could still respond and comment and all of that, but they couldn't create a brand new event. Tags are created by your church, and so it's important to come in here and choose which tags apply so that other people can find a group that they're looking for. Linked groups just allow you have the option to share a post with another group. So if you're a community group leader and you're planning an event that you want to share with the neighborhood group, you can do that. So linking a group just makes it a little bit easier to find the group that you want to share to. You also can set it so that if there are two groups that you want to share with often and you trust each other, you could set it as an auto approve so that the other group leader doesn't have to approve every post that you share with them. When you share a post, it lives within both groups so that comments from other group members would show up in your group as well. And it's marked as shared so people know that it's shared. Promotions are the last tab here, which is this promotion block down here. So you could create a promotion that links, if someone clicks on it, to anywhere you want. So if you have an event you want to promote, you can do that. So you would just find the graphic that you need, add the link, so a URL you want to lead people to. You can set an expiration date, and then you can limit who sees it. So since you're creating it within a group, at first you're targeting that promotion to the people only within that group. So only people in that group would see that promotion rotate down here. But if you want to target it even more, you can choose gender, membership status, marital status, involvement in groups. So those are the main group settings that it's very important for you to fill out and get familiar with. The next thing I want to show you is your group roster. So you would come up to this icon and go to your participants, and this is how you invite people as well. So up here at the top, you as a group leader or manager would see manage group invitations, but all of your other participants would see invite someone new. So if you come here to manage group invitations, if you know someone's already in the city and you're just adding them to your group, you can start typing their name and it'll show up. It'll tell you if they're already in the group, so they won't be sent a duplicate invitation. If they're not in the city, you can put in their email address and it would invite them into your group as well as the church group, because everybody's automatically added to the church group. Now, since you're a group leader or manager, and the reason it said manage group invitations is because you also can see the people you're waiting on. So if you invited someone and they haven't accepted the invitation yet, you can come here and resend it. If by chance they say they just never received the invitation, again, you could resend it, or you could come here and copy the link and specifically email them the link so you know they get it. So to go back to your group roster, again, as a group leader or manager, this view looks different because you can change the group roles. For every participant in your group, if they come to this page, they would just see rows of people that are in the group, and they would see the contact info based on each individual user's privacy setting. As a community group leader, you can see everybody's phone number in your group, even if they marked their phone number as private. If you're invited into your group as a leader and then you want to make a few other people leaders or managers, once they're invited into your group, you can come in here and just simply change their role. If somebody leaves your group, you can make them inactive, and then they will not be able to get into your group any longer. So it's important to keep your roster up to date. Just to clear up the difference between a leader and manager, they basically have the same abilities as far as being able to change group roles here, as well as the group settings. But basically the main difference is that a leader is more like the face of your group. So if you go to the group info page, you'll see that it lists who the leaders are. So the managers aren't listed here. So think of managers more as an assistant, but it's not the actual face of the group, I guess. While we're here, I want to point out how this group looks on the group info page. So it's great that they have a picture and a description and address. So this makes it clear for people that land on this page what this group is all about. Okay, so now let's talk about creating content in your group. Like I mentioned earlier, it's really important to create content that is not just informational, but rather it's engaging. So you just go into your group and click Start a New Post and go to which post type you would like to create. When you are creating content, you have the ability to target your communication even more. So you can choose women only from within the group if you're a woman. If you're a man, it would say men only. You can choose that only leadership within that group, so anyone that is a leader, manager, or volunteer in that group would see the post. Priority would send it as an immediate email to everybody in the group, no matter what their email settings are. So this would be more of an emergency situation, like you're canceling your group meeting, or there's immediate need within the group, someone's in the hospital, something like that. You also could do member only if you are a member at your church. You could limit email. So if you're wanting to set some dates on the calendar way out in advance, let's say, and you just don't think everyone needs an email notification for it, you could limit the email, but it would still live within your group. And then you can turn off responses if you don't want comments for a certain post, which again, we want it to be engaging, so I hope that that isn't used a lot, but I know that it's also helpful at some point. There is these same options for each posting type. So under no responses for an event, that would also turn off RSVPs. And then as a group leader, you also have the ability to feature a topic. So see how it says featured here, and there's a welcome to the city post. This is a great idea for your groups as well, to create a welcome post, painting the vision of what you want your group to look like on the city, how you want it to be utilized, maybe explaining something. And the way you do that is you just create the post to start, and then once you post it, you would see this option. So right now, since this one's already featured, I have the option to unfeature it. But if it's not featured yet, you can just click feature. What it does is it stays at the top of the group page, because the rest of the content is just based on recent activity. So if there's ever anything that you don't want to get buried, you want to make it easy to find, like a post with documents that people always need to find. You can post it, feature it at the top, and you can feature up to 3 different posts up here. You also have the ability to edit or delete any content, and so that's any content that anybody posts, not just yourself. Let's say that you want to still contact someone or a couple people in your group, but not your whole group. You can utilize messages for that. So coming up here, you can write a message to just a few people by typing their name again and communicating that way. So you still can utilize the city for that one-on-one communication. Another thing I want to show you is under your statistics. So this is another tab that only group leaders and managers can see. So up here you can see the email settings that people in your group have chosen. So this will help you know when you're creating content when people are going to see it. So if everybody in your group has daily digests, you know that they're not going to see it until between 4 and 5 p.m. is when that daily digest email is sent out. If you see that people have nothing, you may want to talk to your group about the email settings and explain how important it is to be able to stay in community and know when someone has a prayer request, etc. And then new content means they're getting that initial post right away via email, but not all the comments that might be added afterwards. And then everything, they get an email also for the comments. You can see the percentage of people active that week to keep a gauge on how your group is doing. So if you are a community group leader, there is an added feature here of group health. So if your church has chosen to create a group health assessment for you to fill out, you can come here and assess the health of your group. This is completely customizable by your church, and so these are just categories that we made up. But you can basically just say if you're doing good, average, poor. I'm just going to quick hit all of these. Down here you can rate based on a 1 through 10 system and submit. And this allows church leaders to see how you as a group are doing. So this is the first time that I filled out a health assessment within this group, but as time goes on, if I fill it out once a month, it would create a graph to show how we're improving as a group in these areas. As a service group leader, a special feature that you'll see is that you can add a need to the service opportunities page. So let me show you really quick what that looks like. So let's say you need to recruit ushers for, say, Labor Day weekend. So ushers needed, we need some extra ushers for Labor Day weekend. So one of the advanced options that you'll see is service opportunity. If I click this, what it's going to do is send it to the service opportunities page, which is under growth. So right now I'm posting it within the Sunday hospitality group, which means only people in that group are going to see it. But if I make it a service opportunity, that allows it for anybody in your church that goes to this page could see it as a need that they could contact you and help with. So if I post this, the next page takes you to your skills. So these are skills that your church can customize based on needs. Let's see, I'm going to choose hospitality greeting as a skill that would match up with this service opportunity. I can see that 15 people at my church have said they have this skill. So if I update it, it shows me that I made it a service opportunity and that I'm looking for this skill. I then could click on the skill. It'll take me to this page where it shows other service opportunities that have been tagged with this skill, but it'll also show me those 15 people that said they have it. So I could send a message straight to them. Now some of them might already be in your group, but you could send a message to Target and say, hey, are any of you available? Some of them might not be in your group, and this message might lead them to wanting to sign up on a more regular basis. You never know. So let me show you the service opportunities page now. So if I go here, I see this ushers needed. So someone can come here and choose I can help, and it will create a message between them and you as the group leader. So the last thing I want to show you is how you can share from within a group. You would just create your post as you would want to in your own group to communicate to your group, and then you can choose to share it. So one thing to note is that you have to choose this option at initial creation of the post. You cannot go back in and share it later. The reason is that if somebody posts a comment before it's made shareable, so if they comment and think only people within the group are going to be able to see it, then if you were to make it public, it would basically violate their trust. And so you have to allow it to be shared at initial creation. You do have the ability to just simply check that box and not choose where it's going to share yet and post it and then go back in and choose later. So from this phase, you can just say share with other groups if you know the name of the group, or share with other people and it would be shared with them, or you can make it public to the city plaza. The difference between a private URL is that it just simply gives you a link that you can copy and paste and share specifically via email or Facebook. If you make it public, it would be sent to your church's public plaza page. So it's important to understand when it's appropriate to publicly list. So let me show you what it looks like if you do choose to share with another group or on the plaza. So with this community group, let's say that I want to create an event for the Labor Day parade. Say let's all meet up to watch the parade together. And so I'm going to share it. Let's say I'll just show you, I'm just going to choose it to be shared first. And so I'm going to post it. So now it's posted, so people can respond. But I can come back in here and click shared. and then choose who to share it with. And so I can choose specific friends, maybe, that I want to invite to, watch the parade together, or I can choose groups. If I had any linked groups, which I showed you in the group settings, they would show up under here so that I could just quickly click one of the linked groups, or it shows what groups I'm in, or I could search for any group. So I am going to choose my neighborhood group that I'm in for this one, as well as, let's say, Madeline is my good friend that I want to come as well. So I can then share it. So those share requests were sent. So one thing I didn't mention earlier is that you can't go back in and share it to the plaza either. So you would have to choose to publicly or privately list to the plaza at initial creation. So the ability to go back in would just be to share it to a specific group or person. All right, well, thanks for hanging in there with me. I'm excited for you guys as you get going with the city. I hope that it is a place that allows you to be in deeper community and connection 24/7 throughout the week. Thank you.